everyone, and welcome. I'm attorney Carrie Nguyen, founder of the Law Office of Carrie Nguyen. Today, we are tackling a topic that many families in our community think is impossible: buying a home while you're still working on your immigration status. There is a huge myth out there that you have to be a U.S. citizen to own property, or that buying a house will put a target on your back. Today, we're going to bust those myths. I've invited an expert who helps families navigate this every day. From Gem Realty Group, brokered by Randon Realty, we have Hema Sigala Landoros, a bilingual real estate agent here in DFW. Hema, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Carrie. I'm so excited to talk about this because home ownership is the fastest way for our families to build wealth and stability. I want to show everyone that the door is open for them, regardless where you're at in your legal journey. I have been in the industry for 13 years now, and I have seen firsthand how life-changing and possible this can be.
We have a lot of ground to cover. We're going to start with Hema on the how-to, the loans, the I-10s, and the 2026 market. Then I'm going to jump in to talk about legal safety, how to protect your house if your case is pending, and how home ownership actually strengthens your immigration case.
Carrie, these tips are so important for getting started. But even with the right loan, I know clients often worry about the what ifs. What if my case is delayed? What if I have to leave the country? Let's talk about the legal side and how families can protect their investment and their future.
All right, Hema, let's start with the basics. Can a person who is not a U.S. citizen actually own a house or land in Texas? Is it even legal?
Yes, it is 100% legal. Thousands of people buy homes every year using their foreign passport or an I-10. However, things have changed as of 2026 regarding the types of loan that are available for non-citizens.
What are some major changes that you've seen this year?
One of the major changes was that in 2025 and the beginning of 2026, FHA no longer gives loans out to non-citizens. But there are still other programs. You can go conventional, private lending, so there are still possibilities.
Okay, yeah. So for families where the husband or the wife only has an I-10 number, have you seen these loans closing recently? Is this still a good option?
Oh, absolutely. I'm seeing every month. While usually the I-10s do require a bigger down payment, typically from 10 to 20%, they remain the best way for families to start building equity while they wait for their legal status.
And then what about DACA recipients with a social security number and a work permit? Does the bank treat them like a citizen or a non-citizen when they apply for a loan?
In 2026, because of the HUD policy shifts, DACA recipients are treated as non-permanent residents. While they can no longer get an FHA loan, they are still eligible for conventional loans. The key is showing that your work permit is valid and that you have a solid 2-year work history.
Okay. What about business owners? Can a self-employed business owner, like someone who runs an online store or a small shop, can they actually qualify for a home loan as well?
Absolutely. Lenders love business owners, but we have to be prepared. Instead of a W-2, you'll need to show 2 years of tax returns or 12 to 24 months of bank statements to prove your cash flow. The key for 2026 is making sure you aren't writing off too many expenses or your official income might look too low.
Yeah, no, that's a great advice. We just had a tax consultant who did a Q&A with us, and we discussed this. So if you did not watch that, go and watch that. There's some helpful tax information there. Hema, what if a family doesn't have the full down payment? Can a relative back home or friend in the U.S. gift them the money?
Yes, gifts are very common. However, the bank is strict about the paper trail. We need a gift letter signed by the donor stating that the money's not a loan. That needs to be paid back. If the money's coming from outside the U.S., you need to start the wire transfer early so the bank has time to verify.
Okay. Can a U.S. citizen relative, like a sister or a parent, co-sign for someone who only has an I-10 or DACA status to help them qualify for the loan?
This is a mixed status loan, and yes, it does happen. A citizen can co-sign to help the income requirement. However, the bank usually uses the lowest credit score between the two of them. And the loan type will be limited by the status of the person who will actually be living in the home.
Okay. So if DACA is now limited to certain loans, does that mean green card holders can get any loan they want?
Exactly. You do, once you have a green card, a permanent residence, the doors fly open. You can qualify for FHA, a VA loan if you've served in the military, and the lowest down payment, the conventional loans. You are treated exactly like a U.S. citizen in the eyes of a bank.
That's great. So some people want to buy the home under the company, like an LLC, instead of the own name. Is it harder to get a loan if you do it that way?
For a home that you plan to live in, it is much harder. Most home loans require you to use your personal name. If your business name, the bank sees it as a business investment, which means higher interest rates and a much larger down payment.
Okay. All right, Hema. Sometimes a bank accepts a foreign ID for the loan application, but then the family gets stuck at the very end because of the notary. For example, people can use a passport, but not a matricula, right?
That is correct. Texas notaries are very strict. For real estate, they cannot accept an expired foreign passport. They cannot accept a matricula consular or a foreign driver's license. If you don't have a valid passport at closing table, the whole deal can fall through.
Now, I know that Texas has a huge property tax break. Can someone with a green card still get the homestead exemption?
Yes. If the house is your primary home, you can qualify. In 2026, the savings you're paying from taxes on $140,000 of your home's value for school taxes. You just need a Texas ID that matches the home address to apply.
Okay, so they can save on $140,000
Yes.
on their property. That's great. Okay. For anyone, citizen or not, who wants to buy a house in the next 6 months, what are your top 3 tips?
Okay, my top 3 picks are going to be audit your credit. Don't open any new credit cards. Don't go buy a new car right now. Save for the extras. Down payment plus closing costs. Get a buyer's agreement. In Texas, a law passed in 2025 that requires us to have this in place before we can even go tour homes. Carrie, a lot of families are still scared that buying a house puts them on a list for ICE. How do you address that?
Yeah, excellent question. Being a homeowner is a financial act, not a red flag for immigration. ICE doesn't sit around scanning property deeds. In fact, owning and paying property taxes usually shows that you are a person of good moral character, you have financial ties to the U.S. when it's time for your green card interview or in immigration court proceedings.
What if the scenario, Carrie, what is the biggest legal risk for a family if they buy a house and then their immigration case gets denied? Do they lose the house?
No, you do not lose the house. The house is yours. The risk is the payment. If you have to leave the country, connect with the realtor immediately, and then they could plan to sell. So you can make a plan to either sell it, rent it out, so you don't lose your investment.
Does buying a house together make a marriage look more real to the officer at the interview?
Absolutely. A joint mortgage or a deed with both names is gold level evidence. It shows the officer you aren't just roommates, you're building a life and a financial future together.
An emergency plan, Carrie. If one spouse has to leave the country, how can we make sure that the other spouse can still sell their house?
Yeah, it is extremely important that you have a power of attorney signed while everyone is still here in the U.S. While my office handles immigration side, you need a specific real estate POA, a power of attorney. This is your insurance policy, so no one spouse can sign off for the other if they're separated or if one spouse have to be removed from the United States.
Carrie, What is the one thing in an immigration history that can make a person stop and call you before they give a deposit to me?
Okay, if you have an old order removal, or what we call a deportation order, or if you enter the country without inspection, we really do need to speak to make sure that your pathway to a green card is clear before you tie up all your life savings in a property or a house. Emma, I'm thinking about this one client I had who was recently deported, unfortunately, and he did have property here in the state of Texas, but he really didn't have any close family members. He didn't have a power of attorney. So what do you recommend to do in that situation?
Well, there is very few title companies that would do this in the state of Texas, but I do have connection to one, and they will do what's called a wraparound loan. And what that would be is the loan will stay in the name of whoever has the loan, but then they sell their loan to another individual. When that individual finishes paying off that home, the deed of warranty will get transferred over to the buyer. So they call that a wraparound loan.
Oh, wow, okay.
Like I said, a lot of title companies won't do it, but there are very few, and I actually have a good contact with one.
So this is important too. If you are in that situation, to contact HEMA or your realtor that you work with to figure out if you're eligible for this wraparound loan that I've never heard of. But thank you for sharing that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. HEMA, what sets you apart from some other bilingual real estate agents in the DF area?
I think something that really sets me apart is the abundance of experience that I have with working with people who have I-10s or undocumented, or they're going through the legal status. I have a great team of lenders who also, work with clients who are going through the process, and we educate them. We let them know what we're going to need and require for them to have a home ownership, and just walk them through the process. It makes it seamless when they know exactly what we're going to be needing from the very get-go. And I think that's really what helps set me apart from everyone else, just the knowledge that I have, and then the people that I work with who also have that same knowledge.
Yeah, no, that's great. Experience matters a lot when you're making an important decision like buying a property. So how can our community contact you or your team?
The best way to contact me is to reach out via my cell phone at 817-915-9133. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram. You can look me up by Gema Landeros.
That's great. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Now, Carrie, for immigration questions, what number should we reach out to?
Yes, you can reach out to our team at 817-330-9734, or you can follow us at Carrie Legal on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. We are located in Arlington, Texas, but we serve clients all over the state of Texas and country nationwide.
And Carrie, what sets you apart from other immigration attorneys in the area?
Yeah, so for me, it's really personal. I am an immigrant myself. My team is made up of a team of either immigrants or children of immigrants. We've gone through this journey ourselves. So our purpose is to make sure that you are never alone in this immigration journey. We're always going to be with you from beginning to end. And we're we hold ourselves accountable to certain deadline. We have procedure to set your case, to file within specific deadline, whether it's 30, 60, or 90 days. And we don't like to sit on cases. So if you work with us, you can be ensured that we will make sure that your case set out, not just with the deadline, but with the quality that it needs to get approved.
Well, thank you, Carrie. Thank you for having me. I hope to, work with you in the future.
This has been such an eye-opening discussion. The biggest takeaway today is don't wait until your green card arrives to start building your family's legacy. With the right team, a real estate expert like Emma, and a solid legal strategy from our team, you can secure your family's future and start building real roots in this community right now.
Exactly. Knowledge is power. If you have been told no by a bank or just scared to start, reach out to us. We understand your unique situation, and we are here to guide you safely. We have done this for our friends, family, and we know we can help you too.
Thank you all for watching. If you found this to be helpful, please share it with a friend who needs to hear this. Emma, thank you again for being here and for sharing your expertise.
My pleasure, Carrie.
All right, we'll see you all next time. Take care, everyone.